everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our very first Take and Make craft activity of the summer. If this is a repeat performance for you, welcome back. For those of you that this is your first time joining us for a program, welcome, and I hope to see you again soon. So today's activity is a paper lantern. So you have grabbed your kit, and inside that kit we've got most of the things you're going to need, but I am going to address a couple things that you want to make sure that you have on hand. So first of all, you have your directions. So this is just in case you get stopped or something is coming up with your internet with the video. You do have some step-by-step instructions there. Second, we have 6 different patterns that you can choose for your images. I'm going to talk about these in a little bit, but just so you know, these are here for you to be tracing. We have our tracing paper. There are 4 sheets, 1 for each side of your lantern. And finally, we have some Dr. Washi tape for you for your sides of the craft sticks. I'm going to explain how this is going to work in a little bit, a few notes about these as well, but I will address that as we go on. So, the last item that is in your kit are the craft sticks, these gigantish looking popsicle sticks. So we are going to start with these because this is the important part. We want to construct our frame first. This is why we need our hot glue. On the instruction sheets, it does tell you that you can use craft glue. However, it takes a little bit longer, and when it comes time to actually putting all of the craft sticks together to form our lantern box, they don't stick real well. You're going to need assistance with that, which is fine. If you want to use that, if that's the only thing you have, not a problem. Just make sure that you account for the fact that you're going to have to add time to that. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. It's a little difficult. We're going to take 4 craft sticks to start with, and we're going to lay 2 of them this way horizontally on our table, and then we will take our other 2 and put them vertical, or up and down and sideways, depending on how you want to phrase that. They should overlap to form an open square. So then you're going to take your glue gun, as I step back a little bit, and I recommend you do it on the piece of craft stick that will go up and down, not the ones that lay across. I just think it's going to be easier this way. So you're going to put just a little bit of your craft glue on here. Doesn't need to be a lot. Hot glue holds really well, but it is hot, so do be careful. So put a little dot on each side, and then you'll just lay that down on top of your bottom pieces and just press it in so that it adheres and sticks for a couple of seconds, and then you can go ahead and repeat the process with the second one. Sorry, my glue gun is off to the side because of where the outlets are here in the program room at the library. So I will hold this up for you here in a second so you can see about how this looks. So here is what you're going for when you make this. You'll be able to see on the back how they overlap each other, same as in the front. So we're going to do that with all 16 of our craft sticks. So we're going to form our 4 sides. So you can go ahead and do that now. Okay, so now that you have all 4 of your squares constructed, we are going to move on to the tracing part. So like I said, I gave you 6 different choices for your image. You can do this however you'd like. You can pick one image and draw it once. You can pick one image and draw it all 4 times. You can pick 4 different images. You could pick 2 images. This is entirely up to you how you want to go about doing this. For the demonstration, I'm only going to do 1 image, and I'm only going to draw it once. I'm going to use the unicorn because it is the most basic of the images. They tend to get a little more involved, as you can see. So if you are choosing to do multiple images, or you're choosing to use one of the more intricate ones, again, feel free, stop the video, and you can go ahead and just restart it when you're ready to move on to the next step. So, pick up your sheet of tracing paper, and I'm going to do this in the middle of my paper. This way I don't need to be concerned about accidentally having to cut part of it off or something of that nature when it comes time to cut it and attach it to my squares of craft sticks. So I'm going to put it right about in the middle. You'll be able to see that. So I will lay that down, and I'm just going to go ahead and trace my pretty little unicorn. So this will take about a minute or two. Not the best drawer. Hey, if you are a great artist and you feel confident in freehanding an image that is not one of the ones that was provided in your kit, by all means, please do so. I'm kind of jealous of those of you that have that kind of talent. For the rest of us, we will just use awesome tracing paper and go from there. So the next step after you have everything traced is to color. So again, that is why markers were listed on the items that you would need from home. You might be able to use crayons. I honestly don't know, but I think that markers will give you more vibrant colors and they'll be easier to see. Now this is not perfect, but it's pretty close. Okay, so with this, because a unicorn is generally white, I'm not going to have to color in the background. I'm only going to need to color in the hair, the crown, things of that nature. So I will go ahead and start with that. Let's see. Maybe do some pink in the hair. That'll be a nice bright color. If you have skinny markers, that might work a little better with some of these smaller pictures, but doesn't matter. Whatever you have on hand will work. My guess is, depending on which image you've chosen, you could probably even just use a pencil for shading in certain areas, if that is something you would like to do. I bet that would work very well. What other fun colors do we have? We'll make our unicorn hair orange. And one more color for hair. I already did purple. We can do blue. We'll go with blue. Okay. And for the crown, I think, you know what, I'm going to outline it again in the gray color, the silver sort of color, especially since I'm not coloring in the unicorn itself. This will give me a little bit of definition on the eye, the ear, and then the neckline there. I'm going to use a light pink, maybe, if I can find a very pale pink, in this fun kit of markers. I'll color in the nose area. I don't really have a pale pink, so I guess I'll just use the same pink I used on the hair. It's not that big of a deal. Color in the little tip of the nose there. And then we will do green for the crown. Don't know if that's what color a unicorn's little crown is, but that's okay. It's my creation, so I can make it what I'd like. Same with yours. So here's my finished product. Ain't she pretty? So our next step is going to be affixing our tissue paper to our open squares. Before we do that though, there is something I want to go over, and that is dealing with the tape to cover your sides. So everyone's kit included 16 strips of tape. They might all be the same color. There may be two different shades. Some may be uniform in width and some are not. You don't have to use the provided tape. It is entirely up to you. If you have your own tape at home that you would prefer, go right on ahead. another option for you, if you don't want to use the provided tape, is you can color the craft sticks. So if you're going to color the craft sticks, you could make them all one color. You can change it up however you want to do it. But again, that's going to take a little bit longer, and you're going to want to do that now before you move on to the part of attaching your image to your squares. But I want to show you how to do that if you decide to color your squares. Typically what we're going to do is we are going to place the paper, the image on top of our squares and attach it that way. If you're going to color your craft sticks, you want to make sure that when you go to attach it that you put it on the back. That way you'll be able to see your colors. So I just wanted to point that out to you right now if you choose not to use the provided tape and you want to color them instead. So for the rest of us, or those of us that are going to use the provided tape, you want to kind of get an idea of exactly where your image is going to fall, and you're going to need your scissors at this point. Or you could start with a pencil and sort of mark it off, which is what I'm going to do just to make it go a little faster. And then you're going to cut your paper. It does need to cover the square, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. So I'm just going to do a couple quick lines on here so that I can see roughly where to cut. Get my scissors out. Hopefully we fit. Yep. So this is what you're going for in terms of coverage. Okay. It's okay if it comes over it a little bit. It's not a problem. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take your glue. Even if you're using hot glue, if you would prefer to use craft glue for this, you can, just because of the mess factor. It's up to you. It will definitely go faster if you use hot glue. So my method of doing this is I'm going to put a dot of glue on each corner, and then again in the middle of each craft stick. And then I'm going to place my traced and colored image on top and just press down lightly. You don't need a ton of glue. Too much will probably seep right through, and you want to make sure that you're careful not to tear your tracing paper and image. So I don't know if you can see those, but those are my little dots of glue. And you do need to work quickly with the hot glue so that it doesn't start to dry on you. So just tap it down a little bit. It is going to be a little warm, but that's okay. It's not a big problem. And there we are. Okay? Little strings. If you get the strings from the hot glue, you can just pull those off. All right? So now you're going to do that with all 3 of our extra squares that we haven't touched yet. Again, some of you may have images, some of you may not. It's entirely your decision how you want to do that. Mine will not have images. Okay, so I now have my tracing paper on top of all of my squares. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to affix my tape. So yours are already pre-cut, and you're just going to pull them off and lay them on top of each of the craft sticks. There will probably be some paper that extends beyond. That's okay. Now, some of your strips of tape may be longer, some may be shorter. That's fine. Pair them up. So if you're going to take 2 pieces that are a little bit shorter, put them both on the up and down sides, and then you can take your longer pieces and cross over them on the top and bottom sides. So I'm just using some extra random tape that we have laying around the library. So this is going to take me a little longer than it would take you because yours is pre-cut. And I'm just going to cut it. Maybe. Tape does not always cut real well because it's so sticky. And voila. So it's going to look like this. So go ahead and affix your tape the way that you would like. I'll go ahead and work on this. These scissors don't cut this tape real well, so this is going to take me a few extra minutes. So I had a little bit of a filming snafu. So I'm going to show you our next step, and it's not going to be with completed squares. However, I think it actually might work better because you're going to be able to see a little more clearly what it is I'm doing. So I have our 4 unadorned, untraced image squares that I'm going to be working with. So yours will actually have your traced paper, your tape, all of that fun stuff on it. But this is just going to show you how this is going to work. So you're going to start with 2 of them. Take one and lay it face down. And see if you can see, that should work. Your second one, you're going to take and pick one side, doesn't matter which one, any side, and you are going to lay hot glue across this portion of it. This is why the hot glue is important. If you have the craft glue, you're going to need some help with this part. Grab a sibling, grab a parent. You're going to need an extra set of hands to do this. When I did a test run the other day, I only used the craft glue. It did not work very well. It was taking entirely too long. It would not stick together. The hot glue works much better. It actually will allow it to quickly stick together, and it dries fairly quickly, and it just has a sturdier bond. So if all you've been able to use is craft glue, that's fine. It will work. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So on our sides here with our hot glue, I'll try and move it a little bit so you can see. I actually have to add another slice of hot glue. Sorry about that. So you're just going to lay a bit of hot glue across here. You might need, depending on how trigger happy you are, you might need to press that a few times. And then you're going to push it onto your bottom piece, and you're just going to hold it there for a minute. Like I said, it will adhere fairly quickly, but just to be safe, you want to hold on to it for a minute or two, just to make sure that it is sticking together. So it looks like we're good on that one. So I'm going to push this one up and out of the way, and then we're going to glue our other 2 together doing the exact same method. So put our hot glue on here. And even though the straight piece doesn't really touch, it's more on the corners, I like to put the glue on there anyway, just to be on the safe side. Let's set that on there and give it a little pushy push. So if you are using the craft glue, you're going to need to work a little slower. You will have to hold these together for a little bit longer. You may even need to use a little bit of an anchor or a weight to push everything together. Maybe a small book or a bean bag might even work to kind of help hold it in place a little bit. You may have to experiment with that. But if you have the hot glue, it should move fairly quickly. So while we wait on these 2 sections to dry up a little bit more and adhere a little bit better, I'm going to talk just a little bit about our summer reading. We have a few different activities coming up. They will all take place on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. They'll either be a Zoom meeting, so you would have to pre-register to get the link. Even if it's not a full registration, and we're really not limiting the number of people participating, it's just so that you can get the link, because the link is a private link. It's not an open meeting. So you'll be sending an email to me. I will show you my email address here in a moment. And those programs will all be held on Thursdays at 1 o'clock. We will be doing some different types of games. We will be playing bingo. We'll be having a scavenger hunt, not a clue-based scavenger hunt, more of a go find this item and take a picture of it type of scavenger hunt. Bingo, you can be a winner and win a candy bar. Our last program of the year is going to be a bad art contest. That's going to take place on Thursday, August 13th, not March 13th, which is the day our world stopped turning a little bit, if I remember correctly. So our bad art contest, I will be releasing details for that as we get a little bit closer in terms of theme, time limit, the types of materials that you can use. If you've never participated in Bad Art Night, the idea is to use what you have on hand to create the absolute worst piece of art that you possibly could and maybe win a prize. In this case, candy bars, maybe a gift card to pizza or something like that. We'll have to see what I can scrounge up. But if you're interested in staying informed, you can follow our Facebook page. It also will be on our webpage. But if you are looking for those Zoom links each week, you can go ahead, and I have my email address listed here. It's my last name and my first initial at einetwork.net. You can send me an email. Oops, let's move that over a little bit. There we go. You'll be able to send me an email, and I will send out that link to you each week for our Zoom meetings. Okay. All right, pretty sure that these are ready to go. They should be sturdy enough by now. So our next step is to affix them together to form the full box. So you're going to keep one on the table, and then you're going to put your hot glue on this surface and on this surface, because we have to attach it at both ends. So we'll just lay our hot glue here. Again, making sure that we have enough so that it will spread between the two and stick. Okay. So this one, it's going to take a little bit of sturdiness because you want to get it attached on the bottom, but then you have to do the same thing up at the top. So you need a little bit of quickness with this, but you don't want to go so fast that things, go flying. Okay, so I'm going to move this one out of the way. So here is my original finished product. So once you're done, you are going to have your little box. It might have images on all four sides. Mine just has it on the front. It's open at the bottom, open at the top, and all you're going to do is place your light source in. I recommend using a flameless tea light. If you're not sure what that is, ask your mom. She probably knows. Find them in craft stores. A lot of times they're used with like holiday decorations. But you can put that in there. You could even use like a small mini flashlight. You could lay that in there and turn it on. There are other little small craft lamps that use very small low wattage bulbs. If you have one of those, you could use that as well. So that is our finished product. So I hope you enjoyed doing this. I hope that if this is your first time, that you decide to come back for more. If you are one of my repeats, I'm glad that you're still joining us, even in this very different way of doing our teen programming and our summer reading. If you have any questions, use that email address I showed, check out our Facebook page, check out our website. There's all sorts of stuff on there. And if you have not yet registered for summer reading, you can do that. It's using an app this year. It's called Beanstack. All that information, how to register, how to find the Pleasant Hills Library program. Once you're in the app, that's all on our website. There's a form that tells you all about it. You can earn raffle chances each week. We're giving away e-gift cards, places like Amazon, all sorts of neat stuff. You can earn challenges and badges and all sorts of neat different things to get you reading and reading things that you might not normally read. So thank you very much again for joining us, and have a great rest of your week. I'll see you next week.